Welcome everybody to a new episode of the Three Count. It's going to be a preview of NXT Takeover 31. I got you, Benny, and I got you, Jay,
Yo.
with Paulinho. Let's go. All right, fellas. This is like every takeover event. Short, small card, 5 matches. Let's start off with the singles match that's nothing to do with a title match. Kushida versus Velveteen Dream. Jay, what do you think?
I think considering the year Velveteen Dream has had, I think it's definitely this is just used to push Kushida, and it's almost like Dream paying pence for being proven innocent, but because everyone thinks that he's guilty, he's got to go through something so that he can stay out of the limelight for a little while. So I think Kushida definitely takes this one, and I think he's next in line for a couple of titles. So.
Benny?
Or I'm of the same mindset. I'm going with Kushida here. Uh, I really don't think that. I think this is a way to not only push Kushida, but to hide Dream for the most part, so there isn't a whole bunch of backlash, kind of sort of to be like, all right, we're gonna use you over here. Um, so you still get your action, you still get your TV time, your pay-per-view time, but you're not in any type of title contention picture, so that we don't get this situation where even your own coworkers are rebelling against you and all kinds of things like that. So yeah, Kushida.
Yeah, I agree. This is an agreement. It's kind of he's paying his penance, even though he was innocent or whatever. And we're not gonna say anything about that, but we're just reporting what happened. Um, yeah, he's gonna be jobbering for quite a bit. He's gonna be doing the same penance that Triple H did when the curtain call came out. And if
That's what I was thinking of.
yeah, and if
Yeah.
nobody's aware of that, pretty much when the curtain call happened, uh, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall left for WCW. Shawn Michaels stayed, but obviously they're not going to punish Shawn Michaels. He's the champion. They can't do nothing to Hall and Nash because they were gone. So Triple H pretty much his push went all the way down to jobbering. He was supposed to win King of the Ring that year, which is the year that 316 was born.
Yep.
So
Mm.
people don't realize how much of a big effect the curtain call had in the wrestling world.
Hey, it happened, and honestly, I'm thankful for it because
Yeah,
without it, who knows how this thing would have shaken out.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So next match we got is
You
the
never
first.
really know.
No, we don't. Is the first title match of the NXT Cruiserweight Championship between Santos Escobar and Isaiah Swerve Scott. Benny, what you got on this?
Okay, I was originally gonna say that it has to be Swerve. It has to be Swerve. Here I am about to, kind of sort of screw everything up by saying Swerve. Um, it has to be Isaiah Scott because of the fact that where else are you gonna go? But then again, I think back and I looked to last week where I went and I said the exact same thing about the Street Profits and Garza and Andrade. Regardless of how that match ended, that was regardless of the injury, that match ended the way that it was supposed to. So I'm looking at it and I'm just like, you know what? I can't really
Right.
go about picking with common logic. But at the same time, this is one of these events where I'm going to sit up here and I'm just going to be hard over head for a lot of my picks just because this is a tough event. I'm going with
Yeah.
Swerve just because I want to see some new champions here today.
Jay?
I'm gonna go with Swerve only in the sense that, like you said, it's a takeover. So a lot of retentions tend to not happen during takeovers. It's always a flip in a sense, depending on what the title is. So I think definitely, and this feud has been going on for a hot minute. So I think this is where Swerve Scott gets the win.
Mm, I'm going with Santos Escobar. I think
Listen, I'll put it to you this way: Santos Escobar and his crew is what you wanted Lucha House Party to be.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but the thing is
To
you don't.
me,
The
like
thing
if
is
you
you
look
don't.
at the run that they've had,
Right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
If you look at the run that they've had, then it's like it didn't only make that title relevant, but it's overall good mic work, great ring work, great chemistry. If you brought in and out other teams and you kind of established his faction with it going forward, you've incorporated the NXT tag team titles, so you kept the NXT tag team titles relevant. You've added another team to the title picture. Like, you've done everything you could with Escobar, his crew, and the cruiserweight title to benefit multiple people. And I think that at this point, the changing of the guard is necessary. And you can still, the only way to really continue the feud is for Escobar to lose his title. And I think that with the way things are right now with the cruiserweight championship and the cruiserweight division kind of taking a back seat to building up everyone else, Swerve Scott could definitely, that could be the type of, spark that can ignite and reignite the cruiserweight division.
So I think I agree. This is what Lucha House Party is supposed to be, but the problem is with Lucha House Party, you don't have those characters to run it like Santos Escobar and his group are. That's why it sucks, but that's what Lucha House Party ended up being the joke that they are. They can't be that kind of strong arm like Santos Escobar is with his group. I think I see this going further. Mm-hmm. That's why I feel he's gonna win it. To try and elevate the title a little more, give it a little esteem there with his name and his pull. And I'm not saying Swerve can't do it. I'm just saying Escobar can keep pulling it over. He'll probably retain that title for another month or two before losing it, before he jumps into getting built up for title contention of the North American title. So that's why I see him.
Also, there.
That's why I see him holding on.
I can see what you're talking about, right? But then there's also that lingering match that you're gonna have with Jordan Devlin, because Jordan Devlin never lost the title, and technically Escobar is the cruiserweight champion or the interim cruiserweight champion until Jordan Devlin can travel again.
Mm-hmm.
So there's also that looming, where if they're bringing in crowds, then they could possibly get visas for some of the UK guys, because especially because they're starting back up NXT UK at this point. So it's very possible that Devlin could be coming over to NXT full time, since he can't really travel back and forth. And then they're going to have the unification match, much like they did with the Intercontinental title.
For all we know, because NXT UK opened back up, for all we know, he might have cut a promo. It might, like, Escobar wins it and kind of like start.
He didn't. I watch it.
No. I mean, like, you see him cut in like a promo, a video, like he interrupts Escobar after the win, and like, hey, I'm the real champ. Like a live feed, like, hey, don't no. Mm-hmm. You're just co-holding the belt that I own, and starts to begin a feud, possibly trying to get him over here sometime soon.
Yeah,
that's the only way I can see that starting, because
I just think
like in Florida, they're starting to open up things around here a lot more, so I could see him probably flying in here somehow into Florida.
I mean, I think it could also end. It could also be a dusty finish, and they could just recycle the storyline they just did with Zayn, AJ, and Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
They could definitely do that again, and we don't know what the Halloween pay-per-view is going to be for NXT at this point. So
no, we don't.
I could see them pulling off something in 2 weeks closer to Halloween, and then just throwing the Halloween Havoc.
I was going to say, we have all of this WCW property that we're just not using, but who am I? I don't work for them.
Listen, yeah, right. It's not like I didn't send you the application.
You did, but like I said, I don't need that negativity in my life right now. maybe when Vince decides he wants to go try and buy his way back into the XFL and buys his way out of WWE and never to return, then I will do so.
Well, he's done because XFL is done because now it belongs to The Rock.
I know.
Anyway, continuing on, we have the North American title between champion Damien Priest and Johnny Gargano. Benny, what are your thoughts on that one?
All right. I am incredibly torn on this match for one reason and one reason only. And that reason is Survivor Series. Stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with this pay-per-view could legitimately affect this pay-per-view. Just because of the fact that we don't know at the moment if NXT is going to be involved or if we're even doing the same brand warfare nonsense that we were doing before. If we end up with a situation where you have your mid-card champions going against each other, IC champ versus US champ versus North American champ like we had last year, what do you think looks better? Sami Zayn versus Bobby Lashley versus Damian Priest, or Sami Zayn versus Bobby Lashley versus Johnny Gargano?
See, here's the thing. It looks great, the second option, but the fact that you have Bobby Lashley in there, you need somebody else with power.
Unless you just want to have a straight up wrestling match between the two of them and have them just outsmart Bobby Lashley for the majority of it until he comes in there and has his power spot and then they take him out again.
Yeah,
it's real strange how you can fix it either way. It's just a matter of, I think Johnny puts more. It's more of a marquee with Johnny Gargano in there versus a guy like Damian Priest. Now, mind you, I was all on the Damian Priest train for Takeover 30, so I'm not going to sit up here and act like that's not something that I was all about. It's just a matter of Survivor Series is throwing me off, and it's throwing me off for another reason that's going to come up probably next. So, like, for the moment, I'm going to go with Gargano, but it's just because of that.
Okay.
This one is kind of tough, only in the sense that I have it's kind of a situation where how beneficial is Damian Priest with the North American title? Truly.
Mm-hmm.
Because after that whole rat race to get to the ladder match, it's almost like the mid-card kind of dissolved into nothingness, right? And with Johnny Gargano being such a great heel right now, with certain other promotions or shows some talent infusion at the moment, it would not surprise me if Damian Priest has a very short run in NXT going forward. And he doesn't read me as an NXT champion. So it wouldn't surprise me if he just has a short run with the title and then gets moved in the draft. Or something to that effect. And Johnny Gargano being Johnny Gargano, like you said, the Survivor Series does come into play, yes. But then you also have some other guys that are on the rise. You have some guys in limbo on the main show. You have someone who's coming back who we don't really know who it is. You have the whole Cedric Alexander situation, which to me definitely would play into Survivor Series, because imagine a situation where the North American champion tries to get involved and the Hurt Business inserts themselves, and then you have a situation where you have Cedric Alexander fighting Johnny Gargano for the North American title at Survivor Series. Like, I think there are ways that you can do this where Johnny makes sense and where Damian Priest makes sense. So just off the fact that this is his first title defense, I'm going to go with Damian Priest, but I do think that there is going to be, like, because the thing with NXT is that you can lose a major title on an NXT show, and that's what I like about it. So I could see a rematch happening where Damian Priest loses it on NXT TV. But I think to give him his takeover moment and to really establish him as a threat at the moment before we even start booking Survivor Series, before they even go into Survivor Series mode, for the moment to culminate Damian Priest's story, Damian Priest makes sense only if this match comes before the women's match. Because the result of the women's match is also very much contingent on the result of this match. Like, they're very changeable. Or they're very codependent, I should say. They're symbiotic with each other because with the whole golden prophecy happening for UE and the rumors surrounding UE, it would make sense for them to kind of shift that whole golden prophecy or like golden something onto another couple, and the Garganos make sense. So I'm gonna go with Damian Priest for now, but I don't think his run in NXT is gonna last much longer.
I had trouble with this one too because of the match after this, which we'll segue into. Because of the fact that not just Survivor Series, like Benny brought up, which I wasn't thinking about, but now he has my head spinning now. But because of the fact if Gargano wins and if the wife wins, becomes I think the first husband and wife to hold titles at the same time, which I don't think has been done. Which is interesting, where they can take that and run with it as well, because now you have them both fending off their titles
in NXT only, because I think
they had Triple H and Stephanie. I don't think they were married at the
because
time.
I do believe Triple H and Stephanie were married. I think she had the women's title when he was world champion after that whole Vegas thing where he drove up and she was drugged.
Yeah.
And they got married.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think she held the title at some point after that.
I remember, yeah.
But I think in NXT specifically.
Yeah, but so my thing is,
but in NXT specifically, it's never happened.
Yeah, so my thing with this match here specifically is, I don't think they're gonna have Priest lose it because of the fact is like I don't think they want to play hot potato with the belt. You know, the whole.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think that happens tonight. Yeah. I mean, tomorrow night. I don't think it happens tomorrow night, but I could still see it happening.
Yeah, I could see it. I could see him dropping it. Maybe later on, maybe like in a couple weeks to Johnny when they build it up again, a rematch or whatever it happens to be. Maybe going that. So I will say Damien Priest, and going into the women's title match. This is a good match. This is one we've been wanting to see for a while, like even before. These two women put on good matches. So I will say Candice LeRae wins, and I will say it'll be like a funky finish. I think Johnny gets involved on this one because Johnny loses. He wants to guarantee that she wins the title, so at least they come out with something out of this. So I think this is where he gets involved somehow, one way, distraction or something, and Candice pulls off the win. You know, so I'm going with Candice LeRae on this one. Jay.
My biggest thing when it comes to this match, I look at this past week when Io had to cut the promo in the back, and most of the promo was in Japanese. And then like she had that moment with Damian Priest, and I'm like, I struggle mightily to invest in a champion when I don't get what I feel is like good promos from them. And it's just simply the language barrier. And it's because they refuse to give some of these people managers. But with Kairi Sane being gone and Asuka in limbo, essentially, I think Io Shirai is another one where her time in NXT will be relatively short going forward. And I think they want to replace the whole Kairi Sane thing with Io Shirai. And I think Asuka and Io have a better chemistry and a better shot to be successful than Io and Kairi did, because Kairi Sane and Asuka, because Kairi was very injury prone. And I think Io and Io have a better chemistry and a better shot to be successful than Io and Kairi did, because Kairi Sane and Asuka, because Kairi was very injury prone. And I think Io and Kairi have a better chemistry and a better shot to be successful than Io and Kairi did, because Io, I mean, Kairi Sane and Asuka, because Kairi was very prone because she was so small. Io's a little more built, so it's easier to do that. And Candice, because of not only her tenure but her mic skills and her character work, make it easier for you to build out more baby faces because a lot of the developmental talent right now are baby faces. And you already set up her next feud with Shotzi Blackheart. And you know, she has history with Rhea Ripley, who's still around, Dakota Kai, who's still around. Unfortunately, Tegan's going to be out a year, maybe longer. And you're going to have women who are going to consistently get brought up. And I think that you can build the division a lot better around Candice than you can Io at the moment.
Yeah, I think you have, and she has. I think Candice has enough challengers waiting for her than Io would if she retained.
Yeah.
That's
Io
what
doesn't have any, really.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, she doesn't really have much of anything else to do. Like that's the thing. She got her culminating match and she got the rub from Charlotte, and I get it. But she's not been able to do much with it. And I think her skill set more would play off of Asuka's a lot better. And then it gives you another women's tag team and potentially another challenger for the Raw or SmackDown women's title, depending on which show they end up on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, again, right now, that's your biggest issue with all the injuries for the women on the main roster.
Right. Benny, what are your thoughts on this match?
Especially with the Sasha and Bailey thing going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Something
yeah.
I like to say.
Like I said, there's a lot of heart over head going on in here. Unfortunately, this isn't one of them. Because heart is with Io Shirai. I'm not for whatever amount of takeover I'm actually going to be able to pay attention to because of Game 3 tomorrow. You know, Laker Nation. But I'm going to be paying attention to this match. Right. I have no issue saying that I'm a fan of most of the Asian stars that come over here just because I'm like enthralled with New Japan and Stardom and everything else over there just because of like how insane and how technical and everything that they are. So when I see them over here, I want to see them succeed. So when Kairi Sane won the women's championship from Shayna Baszler, I was kind of hot when they gave it right back to Baszler right after that. In this situation, I do want to kind of sort of just nudge Jay to the side with it and be like, yo, nah, that's not how it went. Charlotte ain't give her shit other than that belt. There was no rub because Charlotte ain't take no pin.
And she ain't
we're not
either. Okay, my fault.
All right.
Damn, I say out loud.
It is what it is, man. I don't care. Like I said, I have nothing against Ashley. It's the booking of Charlotte that kills me. But in this situation, like I said, I'm going to have to go head over heart. Head is telling me that you have a better story to tell with the power couple of Gargano and Candice LeRae, both being champions, versus Damian Priest and Io Shirai keeping their belts. The other thing is the fact that you have, Jay, you mentioned it earlier, the person that they have that's supposed to be coming back. The idea that a lot of people have is that this is Ember Moon. And if Ember Moon is coming
Ember
back
Moon,
to
and
NXT,
I've heard Ember Moon and Bo Dallas are the two.
Yeah,
that
I've heard them both. The thing is, does Bo Dallas give you that? What does it give you?
It doesn't give you the pop that you want on that
Dallas
return.
is NXT Bo. Well, again, if you're strictly talking NXT, then yes, you do, because Bo Dallas was one of the first NXT champions and one of the first real stars that NXT made.
I hear you.
So he has credibility in NXT.
My question
in
and
the
my
realm of NXT, it's bigger.
My question and my response to that, though, and the reason why I'm thinking Ember Moon is it more so than that is Bo Dallas, or was he so damaged by the main roster that it damages his return.
Exactly. That's my problem with that too. That's my thing with that.
That's my
And
thing
Tyler
about it. It's
Breeze.
just like,
When Tyler Breeze came back as Prince Pretty, like
Here's the
that's
other
my
thing
thing.
though.
Is you seen what returning to NXT did for Prince Pretty.
mhm.
Here's another thing with that
So I
is
mean, I get what you guys are saying. I completely understand, but there are two sides to it.
No, I
here's the,
get you.
here's the thing
The
too. Don't forget that okay, yeah, you got Prince Pretty and all that stuff, but you remember when he made his move from the main roster back down to NXT, he was still on TV, so you still saw him. Bro, Dawes hasn't been on TV. I don't know since when. Like
Right.
like you know what I'm saying. So even if he wasn't get a pop, they took too long to make that move for him.
my other thing about it
Yeah.
not being Bo is the fact that, not that I don't want him to get his run, all right, um, is your main event picture in NXT is incredibly cluttered at the moment, which means if he's coming back for mid card,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not, I wouldn't want that. Because if he's coming back, you're talking about, just like you said earlier, one of the first NXT champions, which is how Finn Balor did. But Balor, he did toil around the mid card a little bit, but he came back in main event feuds. But getting back to my main point or whatever is, if you bring Ember back, now you are strengthening the women's division even more than it already was, until you take EO out. In which I heard what you were saying about, bringing her up there, pairing her up with Asuka, and I honestly think that's exactly what's going to happen if she goes up. But Benny logic, being Paul, get your pen and tap the screen real quick.
Oh, I'm waiting. I have it.
Okay, Benny logic would suggest that you bring her up not to tag with Asuka, but to feud with Asuka. You bring her up
That's
there
also a
at,
natural
thank you.
progression.
Yeah,
It's a
you
natural
bring her up.
progression. I get it.
You bring her up there to feud with Asuka. Since she came out there, she's followed basically not in necessarily in the same footsteps, pretty much, career wise, but in WWE, in that machine, in the same footsteps as Asuka, as Kairi Sane. Now, Io, the next big Japanese star, that made her way to the main roster, and she's gunning for the red belt. I would have no issue with that whatsoever. The problem is, once again, you would have a situation where she doesn't speak English fluently. So Vince would be like, hey, she's either a heel, which doesn't matter regardless because she's going to get cheered anyway, or she's going to get thrown into a tag team with Asuka again, like they did with Kairi Sane. But again, that's just me rambling and everything like that. I'm pretty much going with Candice
again.
right now.
No, but your rant makes sense only because of the fact, if you look at the landscape of Raw specifically, without Shayna Baszler and without Nia Jax, they just moved Mandy Rose over there, but they brought what's her face? Dana Brooke with her, and they're building out the tag division. Who else is there from the women's side? Like, there is Bianca Belair, who they're trying to, I guess, repackage by making her run track and showing her as this athlete. So they're trying to slowly repackage her. But the problem is now is, again, you have Peyton Royce, you have Bianca Belair, but outside of those two women, you don't have much when you have two of your other stars as the tag team champions. Like, the Raw women's division is sorry. Like, it's sorry.
You had that little project that they're pulling with Zelina Vega right now, but do we really think that there's anything with that?
If you pair her with the right opponent, like, I liked her matches with Asuka. I really did. The problem is now, what do you do with her? How do you then elevate her? And that's the problem, is that now she's great on the mic. She's decent in the ring. She's going to get better. But the only way for her to get better is for you to consistently put her in matches. And that's a part of the problem, is that
They
there
got to use
is no like they don't have anyone to squash her.
They got to use main event.
They have to use. They can't bring in local talent.
Yeah,
They have to use main event, and they've been trying to do that, but they haven't been able to build anyone. And because again, they don't believe in female blood feuds for whatever reason, there's no way to get someone hot and build two people at the same time. The one thing that you had was Billy and Peyton was coming off hot, and you haven't seen Peyton since that match. So that's a part of the problem.
I'm gonna tell you this right now. They missed.
Because if you had a number one contenders tournament, like gauntlet match tournament, then you can build whomever you want as long as you allow them the time to have great matches. You can definitely build several stars through a gauntlet style or a tournament style match on Raw, strictly highlighting the women.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
You can do it in 2 weeks.
Vince missed the bus. I was watching something earlier today. I forgot what it was, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, why the hell they did not think of this? It clicked into me. They should. Oh, I was watching like Tuesday Night Titans, old ass TV show. And I was thinking, I'm like, golly, Vince missed the bus. With all this COVID, everybody is home. He should have put like main event or something like, hey, look, NBC, let me get Saturday Night Fridays or something. There's another night on NBC. Use that to kind of slowly build out more, flesh out more storylines to help out what's going on Raw and on SmackDown. Now you have another show. You can flesh out more storylines, build out more characters, build out the tag team divisions in the men and the women, build out more feuds. Because now you have a third show. Huh?
I said and promote it because the only reason why I'd watch main event right now is I've heard Mustafa Ali and Ricochet have had some bangers.
Yeah, and here's the thing:
they've had some, and then you've seen Liv Morgan wrestle on there, but then they had Shayna Baszler on there too. I mean, main event's only an hour. That's a part of the problem.
And that's fine though, and that's fine. You can build like NXT, but here's the thing though: during the whole pandemic, when it started, and everybody was locked down, everything was closed down. Nobody had nothing to do. There was no live sports. Wrestling became the only live event you could watch. You mean to tell me if they had 3 programs during the week, or if you not counting NXT now, 3 programs during the week, they weren't going to catch eyes? No, man. If that's the only form of entertainment you can get, that's a live sporting event, no matter if it's pre-recorded, no matter if it's like it's wrestling and it's all like outscripted and all that stuff, people ain't going to care. You know what I'm saying? It's something to get their mind off what's going on. You know,
they could have really built out the lower card.
Yeah, I'm like, he missed that buzz. I can't believe he missed that buzz. Why didn't I think of that? So,
but I mean, too, like the problem is the only low card title is like the 24/7 title. Like they could have really came up with like a main event championship where they could have made main event a show where it fleshes out, like you said, a lot of smaller storylines and a lot of lower mid-card situations, and even had like a main event championship, a la the TV title.
Yeah.
And done it that way. And even if they were going to do it on Hulu, just promote it.
You could do something, man. It could have done something. They just missed that boat, though. I'm telling you, they missed that boat. Because now it's like, now you got all live events, all live sporting events back. So it's like, now they're fighting with Monday Night Football just to get viewers. You know, and they're fighting sometimes, depending on the nights and the games, with basketball as well. So, I mean, they missed that bus. They had that moment where they were the only ones out there available to shine, because the AEW was falling a little behind by a week or two.
And they didn't have, and then they also didn't have the pressure of the crowd.
Nope.
So they could do whatever storylines they wanted. And I mean, too, the one superstar I think that has benefited from the lack of crowd, believe it or not, is Drew McIntyre. Because he's been able to garner so much attention and to garner so much love and respect, so that when the crowd does come back, he already has everybody going.
Yeah. So, Benny, I guess we all have Candice LeRae as unanimously winning this match.
Yeah.
All right, so here's a difficult one for me. The championship.
Oh, it ain't difficult for me.
Huh?
So it ain't difficult for me.
Well, we got Prince Balor and Kyle O'Reilly Benny, I'll let you go, man.
This is
I'll
a
let you go. I already
gimme.
know where you're going with this one too.
You know exactly
I
where
don't,
I'm going.
I don't know
It
what's hard
doesn't need
about
to be
this. This
said
is a
anymore.
gimme.
I don't care what anybody says. I am all in on Kyle O'Reilly. Let's go.
Jay, Jay.
It's Balor's first title defense.
I don't care.
I rest my case. Like that thing, unless you plan on bringing Finn Balor back, which obviously they don't. Plus, there's also the looming return of what's his face of Karrion Kross
Walter.
whenever he gets healthy. Whenever he gets healthy, there's also the Walter situation. There's too many things that would benefit from Finn Balor being champion versus Kyle O'Reilly. I think they're definitely going to do everything they can to put Kyle O'Reilly over, but this one is Balor's, and it's not even.
I'm a fan of Kyle O'Reilly. I ain't gonna lie. Since Ring of Honor days, I've been a fan of his. Every time I can catch him, I've been a fan of his. And I'm freaking happy for him to get this shot. You know what I'm saying? Because they had him limbering in the whole tag team, which is fine, but to see him try and separate, go on his own and get a title. Well, he is separate from UE yet, but the chance to get a title, and not just any title, but the main title. I'm happy for him. But the fact that it's Finn Balor and like Jay said, it's his first title defense. And again, I doubt they're gonna play hot potato with the belts, especially the main one. It's gonna hurt to say, but I think Finn is gonna win this one.
Well, look, from a logic standpoint, yeah, Finn should win the match. All right, because as you said, the NXT title is a world championship. You don't want to hot potato the belt. And what we're talking is the thing went in the last 3 months. Adam Cole to Keith Lee to Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross got hurt. Now it's on Balor. So you're looking at it and you're like, at what point are we going to stop this? Which, again, logically right now, it would be him. My thing is, aside from me being a Kyle O'Reilly fan,
wanted to keep going with the hot potato. That's why. Like
yes, we're going with this hot potato stuff. Like, aside from me being like a Kyle O'Reilly fan, I want to see exactly how strong this friendship between Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly is. How is Adam Cole, or how would Adam Cole react to his so-called friend holding his title?
Well, not just that. Then you got Fish, because
It screams Shawn Michaels.
Fish and Riley have been the tag team duos for that group.
You know what else it screams?
What's that?
You remember Evolution when they kicked Randy Orton out?
Yeah.
That too.
Yeah.
Batista.
It does. But again, at the same time, because if this was any other person that, like, if this was Karrion Kross, then I would say Kyle O'Reilly has a legitimate chance of winning the title, because Karrion Kross was never meant to keep the title for that long anyway. And he was never meant to have a run in NXT for that long anyway. Like me, even though he's saying TikTok and he's doing all this stuff on Twitter, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me to even bring Karrion Kross back to NXT.
I was actually just getting ready to say something about that.
First place, they were talking about debuting Killer Kross. Like, him coming back to NXT doesn't make sense. Like, he rose way too high. You low key killed
Keith Lee.
Like, I get that you were going to move up Keith Lee anyway, sacrificial lamb. But to do Ciampa the way you did, and then for him to only have the match with Ciampa, and then he's had a match with Ciampa, a couple of squash matches, and then the match with Keith Lee. Like, okay, he kind of, like, him and Scarlett work. That gimmick works. So why are you putting him back in NXT? When in reality, you need someone who's his size, with his athletic ability and his type of character work, with the fact that Aleister Black is now no longer Aleister Black, and you have him being more of Tommy End, you can bring in Karrion Kross at that kind of supernatural initiation, and you can pair him with several different people, whether you want to go SmackDown, whether you want to go Raw, even though Raw needs him a hell of a lot more.
Give me Cross versus McIntyre
but
right
I mean,
now.
Again, for the NXT thing,
Give me Cross versus McIntyre right now.
That would be a great match.
Too quick.
But the thing is, like again, like
I'm not saying it wouldn't be a great match, but it's too quick.
It's too quick,
but
man.
I would love for Karrion Kross to win the Royal Rumble. Like Karrion Kross winning the Royal Rumble to fight McIntyre at Mania. Now that's something I can get behind.
I could probably see that happening.
That's something I can get behind because at that point
I can see Kross not coming back at all, and he'll be ready by like November. They're like, no, let's just keep him out till Royal Rumble. He comes in as like a surprise from NXT, but he wins it, and that's his pretty much promotion to the main card. And it's like then they can figure out who he wants. They can play him on both shows as hunting both champions until he finally decides, like, hey, I'm going after McIntyre, and then now he's Raw specific. You know, I can see that
because again. And then there's also the intrigue of, because Scarlett is this, she's almost like Sunny but darker. Like she has that allure to her. And imagine playing that against a Paul Heyman, which again, they have this whole Roman Reigns tribal chief thing. Karrion Kross can cut a hell of a promo with that whole tribal chief thing going on. And this whole, this is my island, blah, 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 blah. Like you can have Kross play like a boogeyman and you can play up the cultural thing. Like he works on both ends. And win or lose, he makes for far better challengers and a far more worthy for both mid cards than any of the champions we have right now. But on Raw, the matchup between the Hurt Business and then Karrion Kross is interesting. Karrion Kross versus Sami Zayn is interesting.
I mean, you could actually
So, I mean, again,
is if you want to build a stable around him, you can actually throw Aleister Black with him. You know, you can throw, I don't know who yet, but that's the first thing that comes to mind. Like a little stable with him. You can start to build one. You know,
no in WWE they would take all of your dark individuals really together.
Stable.
That would be nice though, like a dark stable.
They don't have that many.
No, I'm talking, but there's four right now. It's another
ministry, and I've been calling for that for a while. Who?
There's four, and they don't need to be together at all. There's Kross, there's Fiend, there's Bliss, and there's Black, and they don't need to be anywhere near each other.
No. Keep Fiend and Bliss away from them.
Yeah,
like
no.
Yep.
Whatever they're doing, that's why I say he fits better on Raw.
I am completely sorry. I just pulled a Joe Anderson.
SmackDown right now because of.
I may have just spoke something terrible into existence. My
damn
bad.
it!
That's what I'm saying. You better do some kind of ritual, throw some salt over your shoulder or something. Because what they're doing on SmackDown and the simple fact that he just touched Kevin Owens.
Oh
I'm so hyped for them to bring back the prize fighter.
Yes,
I'm so hyped for this.
Me too.
And then now he's gonna do the whole thing with Bray Wyatt on. He's gonna do the thing with Bray Wyatt on Monday, where Bray Wyatt, not the Fiend, is gonna show up on the KO show.
No, he's supposed to.
And the fact that Alexa Bliss.
And he's supposed to end his feud with Aleister Black on Monday too, apparently.
Which means Kevin Owens is either going back to NXT or he's going directly to SmackDown.
He's going to SmackDown, from what I heard. He's going to get drafted to SmackDown.
He's going to SmackDown.
Yeah,
he's going to SmackDown. It doesn't make him going to NXT now. Definitely makes no sense.
Yeah, no.
I'm just thinking prize fighter Kevin Owens. The first thing that pops in my head is NXT.
But I think too, because now you saw what happened with Alexa Bliss, where it was almost like a spiritual awakening, and then she's the one that's doing Let Me In now. And she's almost becoming like a mouthpiece for the Fiend. not for Bray, but for the Fiend. Instead of Bray being the mouthpiece, they're almost they're
Mhm.
separating the entities now. Where like you may only see like you're not gonna see Alexa with Bray, you're gonna see Alexa with the Fiend. Like, oh, and you may be able to now that you've had him touch so many people, like now you don't know who the Fiend is actually controlling and who he's not.
Yeah.
Because you look at Roman Reigns, you look at Seth Rollins, you look at all these people, you
Mhm.
don't know now. And it's like, leave that alone. Let them do
Braun.
whatever it is they're doing.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Let them
Braun
do
too.
it. Let them do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And Braun's disappeared.
speaking of
Disappeared.
speaking of all this, follow us on Facebook because we're gonna go live for the draft, SmackDown, and then Raw. It'll be me and Jay on Friday, and then the three of us will be on Monday. So follow us on Facebook. We'll be going live during the drafts on the show on SmackDown on October 9th, and then the following Monday on Raw, we will be live on Facebook going over the picks and how we see things going, how excited we are, how not excited we might be with the picks. You know what I'm saying? We'll keep a list. We'll see what's going on, and stay tuned for that one. There's a lot going on, but there's so much that can happen right now. And the thing with that is like I was saying, like Cross and Aleister Black works, you know, because I don't know what you're doing with Black, but he can use like a manager, and Scarlett works. You know, Scarlett works because now it's like they're supposed to repackage him.
He's got that one like big black eye thing going on.
Yeah, but package him to what though? Because he
So
seems like
they're gonna make him more, but they're no, but he's going further away from the end black and more towards the character that he had on the Independents, Tommy Ends, because Tommy End is what Vince liked, not Aleister Black. He didn't like what they did to repackage with the whole like, oh, that's why he's going back to the full leg tights, and he's going back to the one eye, and like he's going back to things that he did on the Independents, because that's what Vince like. He likes that character versus what they did to him and did with him in NXT, which is why he's got a new theme, he's got a new entrance, he's got a new everything.
We'll see what happens.
So I'm like, I think this is Vince trying to get behind him, which again can only be good things because he completely gave up on him for the Aleister Black character.
Yeah. We'll see. Betty, anything?
So yeah,
anything you gotta say,
NXT.
Betty?
Sorry. So NXT.
No, nothing really. Nothing really. I pretty much got my points out there. You know, Kyle O'Reilly for president of the United States. That's pretty much it.
Anything you're looking forward to on the NXT?
I will say though,
everything, honestly, everything, because I think every single one of these matches is going to be a banger.
Okay.
I'm just curious the UE fallout effect. Like that's all I'm looking at in terms of the main event. I'm looking at what they do, especially the Kushida Velveteen Dream match, because they may find a way to write off Dream again, which can only be beneficial at this point. And then at that point, does Kushida go after the Crucial? Does he go after the North American title? Like, you know, do you put the title on Kushida and then you tell Swerve to put on some weight and have Swerve go after the North American title? Like, there are a lot of ways you can go with this, and then you still have a lot of superstars waiting in the wings.
Yeah.
So there are a lot more superstars coming up.
I'm interested to see if that happens, if they write him off, how they write him off and with who. Because I don't think they're going to use Kushida to write him off. I think they're going to use somebody else to write him off. You know, not sure.
Well,
who,
they're having Kushida be more aggressive. They're using Kushida. They're saying that Velveteen Dream unlocked a darkness or a more aggressive side of Kushida, which is what they're going for. So I think they may have it where Kushida just snaps and like what he did in the last attack, like he just kept ramming Dream's balls into the post and then like ramming his knees into the post for like a solid 10 minutes where like Dream couldn't move. So it's like you could see him do something like what Bailey did to Sasha, where he just completely like takes out a leg or something, or tries to dislocate his shoulder, and they call it an injury, which gets him off TV again. My thing with Dream is I don't know if he can come back in the minds of fans and especially his coworkers, because it's been commented on every level. And it seems like no one wants to work with him, and no one wants to put him over, and no one wants to do him any favors. So what is his relationship with the locker room going forward? Because remember, The Miz had issues in the locker room. There are other superstars who've gotten over issues, but nothing quite this severe, considering a lot of these, especially with the women, a lot of the leaders of the locker room, they're all parents. So this strikes a chord with a lot of them. So it's like, at that point, I think it's going to come to a place where is WWE going to have a situation where are they going to release him, or are they going to keep him on the roster and just bury him because he's too good to bury? And that's a part of the problem. So it's like you can keep him away for only so long, but the problem is it's not so much the crowd and the fans, it's the locker room. Like, he shows up on a main event, main roster locker room, it's not rocking. On either locker room, it's not rocking. And nobody's gonna put their arm around him and be like, "Oh, it's okay, we're gonna help you get back." Nobody's gonna do that for him.
No, he's pretty much radioactive right now and who knows for how long? We don't know. We're not sure. We can't say it's going to be only 6 months.
And
we don't know.
We don't know.
I mean, look at Lars Sullivan. Lars Sullivan. So they're talking about his comeback. Still, there's like they don't know because of the fact there's so much that happened with him. It's not just the comments he made years ago, but also the movie he made. And the thing is, this would have been the perfect time for him to come back if he had issues because of the fact there was no crowd. So it would have played perfectly to help him ease him back in, and the anxiety issues he was having with large crowds.
Hell, what about Jackson Riker?
Jackson
Riker?
You think
he's ever going to be allowed back in there?
That's a difference.
They have something in the works for Forgotten Sons.
Yeah.
No, there's something in creative in the works for bringing them back. They're going to get.
No, I know about the other two.
I think Jackson Riker's a little different because of the fact
all three of them.
That I already heard is like once he gets, if they haven't already, there are some people in the locker room that are going to talk to him, kind of get him up to speed with like, okay, like we get what you're saying.
No, they already.
But here's what's going on. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're going to have a talk with him if they haven't had it with him already. You know, so that's a little different
because of the fact that he didn't do it as a person. Because of the fact he did it as his character, he gets a little bit of leeway in the locker room because you were trying to get the Forgotten Sons.
No, he did as a person. He did it under his own personal account, bro.
Oh, he did it that's
what I'm saying. That's why that's what I'm saying. The people in the locker room, they're like,
too, it's an election year, so like I would hold off to 2021 personally. But I did hear that they were talking about bringing them back because, again, the tag team division is bare. And I think that their last appearance was on Raw. So, and that division is struggling heavily.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, not playing games.
Almost.
Granted, part of that is because of the fact that the Viking Raiders are out in, oh my goodness, I can't believe I actually did it. The War Raiders are out. My apologies. Yeah. And, we had the whole AOP situation with them getting released. Granted, you got Rude and Ziggler back now for the most part, but even then, like, are they appealing to anybody?
I think Jackson Riker did it at the worst moment too, because I think they were supposed to. They were going for the titles, but I can't remember if they were supposed to win it. That's the thing I can't remember. I can't remember if they were supposed to win it because there was something came out that like they were getting a push for the titles, but I don't remember if they said and mentioned if they were supposed to win it or not. So what he said killed their momentum completely. Like, it was bad. It was bad. But like I said, I can't remember if they mentioned they were supposed to win it or they were just getting a push to compete for the titles.
Ooh, you gotta watch.
Yeah. So
Say that again, because I got none of that.
like I was saying was that a report I heard was that the Forgotten Sons was supposed to get a push for the titles when Riker made his comments. The thing I can't remember from the report was if they were just getting a push and challenging them for the titles, or if they were actually supposed to win them at one point. That's what I don't remember. So his comments came at the worst time ever because
I think they were supposed to put the titles on the Forgotten Sons.
Yeah, that's the thing I don't remember, but it was like they said it came at the wrong time because of the fact he was kind of radioactive. Like they with everything going on is like we can't put titles on them.
Yeah.
We can't. So it's like and they had to hide them. You know, so
Yeah.
it's like this is something that like I get it. Everybody has an opinion, but when you're in that kind of a spotlight, it's like with them, it's like when it's a lot to deal with the crowd. I mean, yeah, we have sports athletes doing theirs as well too, but that's different because an athlete is not meant to be hiding themselves. Wrestlers pretty much play a part in the ring and in the show, and then they have the opinions in the background. So it's like some people could take it differently. So it's like it's a little difficult for them to kind of maneuver around there. You know, it sucks for them.
I mean,
but,
his type of attitude is what got Big Cass fired. That's what I'm saying. Like you got to look at your examples before Big Cass got fired, along with his because of how outspoken he was on that particular subject.
There was a lot more.
He rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
There was a lot more besides that too, though. That played part of it, yes. But there was a lot more to his.
Oh yeah, no, but it definitely did play a part of it.
Yeah, it did. It did. So everybody, thank you for joining us for another show of the 3 Count. Like I said earlier, join us for Friday SmackDown October 9th. We're gonna be live on Facebook, me and Jay. Betty with the title. We're gonna go over the draft picks that they're gonna do live, and then on Monday night for Raw, the 3 of us will be back live again on Facebook Live, going over their picks. All right. See you guys. Have a good night. Thanks, everybody.
Peace out.